Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Chasing Psychological Safety, our series where we talk about the challenges we have in our people work and the opportunities we have in this new normal of ours. So say hello to Fionn Jones, who's joined us today. And let's try and figure out some of the topics that we were addressing last week and this week, and we're going to keep talking about, which is what do we need to do in this new reality that we're faced with.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, around the world, in all the countries that we're talking to, everybody's in a slightly different situation, but the same principles still apply in terms of what you can do to carry your team, to work with your team, to move your organization through the next 6-12 months of life. A lot's happened in the last 3 or 4 months, and what we're looking at now is, I suppose some people are calling it the great reintegration, some people are calling it the new normal, some people are calling it the next phase. What we need to do now is focus in on our team and our people practice and what they need to move into this new, what is for a lot of people going to be a remote / office hybrid working model. And we've talked about this before, but it's absolutely worth reiterating and continuing to focus on, which is that the way you worked before is probably not going to suit the way you're going to be working in the future. And we've had a tumultuous 3 or 4 months. Everything's been thrown up in the air. The way that your team works has been thrown up in the air. It would potentially be a mistake to try and shoehorn the way things worked before into the new normal. So a team reset and a team relaunch is required. And the first part of that is about behaviours. So sitting down with your team, absolutely taking whatever it needs. You're in a virtual environment, so a few sessions of a couple of hours to understand what behaviours you need in the new normal. Is it psychological safety? Is it the ways you communicate? Is it respecting each other differently, respecting each other's needs differently? But you need to talk about that and reset that behavioural charter for the future.
And we keep saying this about the team relaunch for several reasons. One, we know it's not a concept that people are incredibly used to. 2, we know it takes a lot of work. 3, we know it's in a way counterintuitive. It does not feel like the time to be sitting down and doing a big motivational speech and then carrying on with life. And we can feel that ourselves. I mean, we are oftentimes faced with, do we put our team together for another one? We should know what we're doing. This is all we talk about. This is all we care about. And even in our case, it would be, and it is really useful to always sit down, have things on a canvas, try and figure out precisely what we want out of each other. All kinds of things come out when you actually take the time to do it. And at an organizational level, the bigger organization you are, the more slightly difficult it is to give your people permission to do this. This is not a big organization level, let's all do a team relaunch conversation. This is allowing your teams to do it at a bubble level, and this is allowing them the understanding of it's time to have another conversation. It's all right to be scared. It's all right to still be, obviously, incredibly terrified. We're going to be traversing a really difficult period from an economical point of view. Loads of more people are going to be losing their jobs. The ones that do have jobs are going to be fearing for the jobs. It's the absolute right time for us to be discussing what kind of effects does that have on us? How do we make sure that we are protecting what we've built so far and what we're building from here on? And just kind of do a good session of what do we want out of each other and how is this going to really work for us so that we can settle in for the next, as Fionn said, 6 or 12 months.
And as Dwayne said, I think settling in there for the next is a really good phrase. Some of what you need to do now is build resilience for the next 6 to 12 months. You've made it this far. Well done. Huge thumbs up. It's not been easy, but we've made it, haven't we? You know, we're here. And we've proved that we can work in new and different ways and work our way through huge challenges. But the next 6 to 12 months are potentially going to present another set of challenges on top of the ones we're already experiencing. So as on top of looking at your team behaviours, for that resilience, it's also going to be really important to have open and honest conversations about the ways of working. So we talk a little bit about technology as an enabler, and we talk about allowing your team to have the tools they need and use the tools they need. Lots of organizations are driven by the tools they're allowed to use. Really, we need to be talking to our teams about what they need to be able to do their work, how you want to do your work, how you want to distribute your work, what sub-teams you want to work in, what hours you want to work, all of those really, really important things that are going to really free up your team to do their best work. So in the way, the actual ways that you work together need to be revisited and relaunched as well. And that will build resilience for the next 6 to 12 months and way beyond that as well. So we think that's super important on top of the behaviours. And
it's really a good time for all of us to kind of throw the playbook out and remember that whatever it is that we really need, we might not get it, but it's worth asking for it. And there are plenty of leaders out there who are open-minded and willing to examine all kinds of fixed ideas about the way we work, the tools we're using, the things we're doing in the organization. So it's an amazing time to look at it as an opportunity, because there's leaders, there's HR leaders, there's team leaders, there's all of us in a frame of mind where we're trying to find new ways of making this happen in an easier and less painful way for us. Exactly. And in terms of exact things that you could be doing, in terms of how to organize this team relaunch of yours, there are a number of models out there. It's worth doing it in an organized fashion, in the same way that you'd be doing a human-centered design exercise. It's worth pulling out a culture canvas. We said this before. It's worth contacting behaviors. What can I bring to the table? What am I comfortable with? Really important that you reset your personal limits and don't just try to adapt to things that you know are never going to fit into what you can give as an excellent individual contributor, so that you make collaboration work happen. So yeah, things that we've told you before, we'll keep telling you. We're here to help. By the way, quick announcement, we've just put out an emotional intelligence for tech leaders type of course, or a little tiny online workshop that we hope is going to give people the tools to kind of move through this at a more comfortable speed, if you wish. So check that out. We'll put the link to this in the description, or you can find it on LinkedIn. But it's a couple of hours of chatting to us about emotional intelligence, getting some tools, getting some tips, and being armed with the right kind of approach when you go back to your people practice and your teams.
And that is because we believe that EQ, emotional intelligence, and psychological safety are really going to be the two critical factors you can focus on now to help you now and in the future.
Thanks so much for listening to us, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.